brute force. If it doesn't work, you're just not using enough. You're listening to SOFREP Radio, special operations military news, and straight talk with the guys in the community.
Field ops smell bad. Not like forgot to shower bad, like rotting gym sock married a dead raccoon bad. But here's the deal. Clean troops are sharp troops. And if you are out there ghosting through enemy lines or running ops from a muddy fob, you don't have time for a hygiene crisis. That's why elite units pack the Scrubba wash bag, because dragging around 80 pounds of gear is hard enough without carrying your own stench cloud. It's hand-powered, super compact, and knocks out laundry in 10 minutes flat. Cold Alps, done. Jungle heat, done. Gear cleaned while prepping for Hilo exfil, double done. Pack a Scrubba, not a second pair of regret. Hey, what's going on? It's your host, Rad, and I am ready to roll with another episode of SOFREP Radio for you. But first, before I introduce my guest, who you already know because it's in the link and you guys are like super excited to hear what we're going to talk about, I want to mention the merch store. So we have sofrep.com/merch, and we are just branding cool goods with our logo all over it, like the new mug that has the Playboy Bunny tactical operator on there. Go check that out. We love seeing it tagged all over the internet, and the support that you guys give us by buying the merch helps to keep the fireplace gas lit, right? That's gas. I'm not out there chipping away at wood. That's gas. I'm just going to say that clearly. Second, we have a book club, and that is sofrep.com/book-club. Now, if you're new to us, welcome to your first episode with myself, Rad, and SOFREP, the community. We have a book club, so go check it out. That's book-club at sofrep.com. Now, my next guest is an author, former special operations operator. His name is Sean Hagerty. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thanks, appreciate you having me back.
Well, yeah, welcome to be back. Glad to have you back. Now, just to bring my guest up to speed about you, I'm going to read your bio from Sean Hagerty, or excuse me, author SeanHagerty.com. Sound cool?
Sounds cool.
Okay, where's it at? Okay, let's see. Sean Hagerty, author. Sean Hagerty is a retired special operations soldier with over 25 years of experience. He spent his younger years training and conducting combat operations with the 1st of the 75th Ranger Regiment. After 9 years in 2005, he was selected and assigned to a special operations unit at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. There he spent 16 years and finished his military career retiring as a sergeant major. He received several awards and decorations throughout his career, including the 3 Bronze Stars. Not the Bronze Star, 3 Bronze Stars. Sean currently works for the Department of Defense Science Board as the senior advisor. The Defense Science Board, DSB, is charged with solving tough technical national security problems for the security of defense, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, the Under Secretaries of Defense, the Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and other senior department officials. His wife, Misty, is an executive officer at the National Geospatial-Intelligence Agency. Did I say that right?
Close enough. Geospatial.
Geospatial-Intelligence Agency. Caught me off there. Their children, Courtney, Travis, Samantha, and Delaney, all live in Washington, D.C. area and are thriving, growing, and traveling along their own paths. The grandchildren, let's give them a shout out, Rowen, Jameson, and Wren, keep Sean and Misty busy. Grandpa Sergeant Major, huh? Let me keep reading. Sean Hagerty has combined over 25 plus years of service in the special operations community and deep-rooted research instincts from years of academic pursuits in history to tell this story. This story was written mostly in the plush seats of the daily Tackett's Mill Pentagon commuter bus and the shaky bucket seats of the Franconia Springfield Largo Blue Metro line. Am I saying that right?
Oh, yeah.
However, a few chapters were written while traveling for work, taking advantage of uninterrupted thoughts on an airliner. One chapter was even written during an evening break while on a business trip aboard the USS Nimitz CVN-68 aircraft carrier out in the Pacific Ocean. Cabal, the book we're about to talk about, all came together during evening events in his home shared with Misty in Lake Ridge, Virginia. Now, Cabal, just to point out, is the second book in the series. Jones Point was the first book,
correct,
right? Dane Cooper. And Jones Point was A daughter went missing, and special operations going after her to try to find her, right?
Yeah. Basically, as he's going after, he gets recruited into a cabal, like-minded parents who decide to take the law into their own hand, hunting these child predators.
And so where does Cabal pick up from Jones Point?
So Cabal picks up right at the Dane Cooper series. He's still continuing his mission. They uncover someone in the first book called the Keeper, and they think that he is coordinating abductions amongst these monsters. The twist is that as the Cabal continues hunting, they start getting picked off one by one, and suddenly the hunted becomes the hunted.
Now, when you're sitting on the Metro,
Ugh, shaking.
and you're riding.
They got a couple new cars. It depends if you get a new train or one of the older trains. I always seem to get the old.
First of all, there's so many things I want to touch base on. You know, you're wearing the Ranger 1 hat. Okay, you got the first Ranger on. I was fortunate to have a standing second Ranger on recently, Colonel Nightingale. That's kind of rare to meet a Ranger who's still alive, who created some of these groups, like the first, second, and bats, you know, these things. So, you know, how long ago did you enlist in the military, if you don't mind me asking?
1996, October 96. That's why I went through.
So that puts you,
was that?
And did you go in as a Ranger? Did you think, oh, I'm going to go in?
No, I went in as a regular infantryman. And I was in basic training, and I had two drill sergeant who was a Panama Ranger. And he came up to me, and it was kind of funny. It was, Hagerty, I'm pretty good at PT. You seem pretty smart. You want to go to Ranger Regiment? What's that? I was supposed to go to 101st, but I took the contract right there out of basic training, and they sent me right to Airborne School, Ranger Indoctrination, and then I got to 1st Battalion, April of 97.
Funny how they pick you out of all of them doing PT. You know, do you ever realize that maybe while you're running around the track during PT at basic, that there's a couple guys watching you with your drill sergeant?
Yes and no. My father was a former drill sergeant back during the Vietnam days, and I remember what he told me. He was like, hey, basic training's going to suck. He's like, don't be first, don't be last. Go unnoticed. So I tried to stay kind of near the top of the pack. But I came out, I'd already graduated college. So, I mean, I'm not saying I was great at everything, but I was not your typical 17 or 18-year-old who had no experience in the world and couldn't figure things out. So it was usually a task I was done pretty quick. And they were like, how'd you figure that out? I'm like, it wasn't that hard. Or maybe I was Forrest Gump. Who knows?
You just kept going just because you told me to, drill sergeant. You probably were Forrest Gump at that point. You know, it's like, hey, you're going to Ranger Regiment. You're like, okay, drill sergeant.
Sure. Went the way.
Whatever you think's best for me, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I had a couple duds to my left and right bunks, and they didn't seem the most competent folks, and they were going other places, and I was like, I don't want to go where they go.
No, and that's cool that you went infantry, because it takes infantry to go Ranger, right? You have to be infantry corded, or is that just Green Beret, maybe I'm thinking?
I don't know exactly right now, because it's changed so much. I mean, they've got other MOSs. I mean, you've got cooks, you've got your typical S1, your intel officers, and S2. So to be in the line, yes. But no, I mean, regiment's got people of all different MOSs working their docks and everything.
A little blend of everybody, huh? That's cool.
Yeah.
I get that. And they don't all have to be like an infantry doc. It doesn't have to be a blue cord doc. He could be a doc.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Now, when you're sitting on the shaky Metro and you're thinking, I need to come up with the first 10 chapters of this book, and all of a sudden you start writing and you're like, oh wait, I think I'm writing chapter 5 and I should be writing chapter 1. Do you ever have that where you like...
Everything is written on little 3x5 cards. And I have all these stacked and all the chapters. So if I make something like that, I simply move it around. And also, you remember Jones Point, I wrote completely by hand on yellow legal notebook pads, which is that's how my brain works. My wife got sick and tired of watching me in the evenings type into the computer, and she bought me one of those Remarkables. So now it's my handwriting, and then I zap it to the computer where it converts to text. But it's nice, it's all organized chapters, so I can move chapter 16 to chapter 20. It takes me a nanosecond. Really quite easy to do.
That's really an interesting insight into how you're writing your book, is just handwriting it out on a legal pad. Just going, are you writing it in print or cursive?
Print, only because my cursive is just hot garbage. I've never
and
and it's hard enough.
Remarkable.
It's hard enough on a moving vehicle to write anyway.
We're laughing. If you're watching, we're laughing. If you're listening, we're laughing at each other. We're just like giving this like quiet laugh of like, it's true. You try writing and it's like,
Break a lot
in curse.
break a lot of pencils.
So this remarkable device, it's able to scan your paperwork and then pull out the words just right.
No, what it does, I actually write on it. It's a tablet. It's just
Oh, I see.
I got a special pen and I just write in it, and then I hit convert to text, and it converts to text and it's exactly the computer.
That's remarkable.
So hence the name. Remarkable. There you go. Yeah, it's a lifesaver, and it's so easy that I have all my notes there. I even have Jones' point on there, so I converted it to there. So if I'm screwing up or I can't remember a character trait or something, because I mean I got a lot of characters. It's hard. I'm sure a lot of authors will agree. It's a lot of hard time to remember every single detail. I can go right back. I can go look at chapter 8 Jones' point, pull it up real quick. Oh yeah, that's what he's like, or something like that. Or that's what he said in that book. I want to make sure he says it the same way in the other book.
How exciting. And so when is the book going to be dropped? When's it released? Is that a June coming up soon?
June 6th. June 6th. So we're a little under 2 weeks. So
Is that D-Day? Is June 7th D-Day? Is June 6th D-Day?
Well, June 6th is D-Day, but I've been to one of the celebrations before when we were in Normandy, and I had some old timers telling me bullshit June 5th was because they were out of that bird before midnight.
Yeah, right. They're like June 5th.
Before midnight, so it's June 5th for us. So, all right, whatever you say.
Well, that's cool. What a cool correlation that's going to launch on that day. That must be a Tuesday, right? Most books.
It's a Friday, because then the next day I live just outside of a little town, Occoquan, Virginia. It's a huge 2-day festival, art craft show. It's huge, 100,000 people. So I got a booth there. So I kind of launched and then go right into promoting the book and selling the book at the book fair.
Well, we're really cool. Really lucky. It's cool that you've joined us today, prior to your book going out there and, being a repeat customer of SOFREP Radio and in the culture and special operations. So just to enlighten us, the special operations. So growing up, the son of a Green Beret myself, my father's flag always on the mantle behind me with his beret there. Going into Rangers, is Rangers considered a special operations community versus a special forces community? Is that going to be the difference there?
Yeah, normally. It's the way, and again, too, I haven't been in regiment since 2006, so things have changed. I'm sure they're standing in the world, but bottom line is, yeah, they're Green Berets and Rangers, we all get along, but we love to pick and make fun of each other and what have you. But
right.
Yeah, Rangers are tactically assigned to special operations, as far as I know, still are.
And that's how you would have been assigned to special operations as a sergeant major as you got into that, that rank. You were special operations that whole time. And what specifically was it that was your specialty? Are you like a radio guy? Are you a weapons guy? What is it?
So in regiment, people go normally 2 different paths. Either a lot of guys like to go sniper. I went heavy guns, Gustav, in that route because I'm not as good a shooter. So my margin of error was a little bit better. They're over there hitting the watermelon, I'm blowing up the field. Like, yeah.
Completely. A Gustav.
Yeah, that's the boomstick. That's the route I went. Heavy guns and then taking managing the 50 cals and all the heavy weaponry. The direction I went.
And just to kind of explain to my listener, correct me if I'm wrong, the Gustav is a shoulder-mounted fired rocket launching system that has a tube that opens in the back that allows the shell to go inside, and then it relatches closed, and then you can fire when ready. Yeah.
It's called breech loading. Yep. And you have a assistant gunner who puts that round in the tube for you, smacks you on top of the head, and says, "Gun up." And that person's responsible for the round. If you use an HE, I'm sure they've got new rounds now, but if you use an HE, if you're using a heat round, if you're using smoke, if you're using a loom, some of them have dials so they can explode at certain distances. So in combat, if you want to say, hey, the target's at 300 meters, you aim for 300, but you set the round for 250 on an HE round, and it'll be a flying claymore. So things like that. That's the guy behind your responsibility. All the gunner does is get on target and pull the trigger.
So I could be the leader of the bad guys that you're aiming at. Let's just put it out there. Let's put a scenario. Okay. And I'm like, oh, they're 300 meters away from me. They can't hit me. And you're like, I'm going to drop at 250, let them move out 50, and then watch what happens. And then it detonates because it's timed, yeah?
Yep. They're in a world of hurt.
They're in a world of hurt.
Yeah. I think
that's cool.
I can't remember I can't remember all the stats, but it's pretty widespread.
Oh, I'm sure. And as you guys all get out of the military, everybody, even my own dad, I'd always ask him questions about like doing Morse code. He's just like, I just don't remember, And I'm like, oh, well, if you don't stay on top of it, if you don't stay completely, doing everything. But he also always liked to say, I just don't remember. You know what I'm saying? He'd always be like,
I don't have a goose in my garage that I go shoot on the weekend. So,
Well, actually, I do war games here in Utah on a large scale, like really using airsoft replica training rifles, the whole 9 yards. There's a Gustav.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty legit. It's about a $500 item, but at the end of the day, it fires about 50 to 60 feet, but the projectile is about a 2-inch, 3-inch ball that flies out of it. So it's pretty good for the feet per second that it is. And when you're going up against like armored personnel carriers and things like that require some type of device like that to take it out at these large scale war games, it does the job. Yeah. And so, even for us in war games, that's how I know about the Gustav, the G, is because of airsoft war games, putting it in my hands. They're like, yo, rad. I was at SHOT Show like 2 years ago in Vegas, and they were on the training, the shooting range out there with all the other real guns. And I go over to my airsoft dealer, I'm like, why are you guys over here? He's like, well, we want to fire this for people and show them that it shoots, so we had to be on the range day. And I was like, let's check out this Gustav. And so, it's a full-on one scale replica, as well as all of the other equipment that we use for war games. It's all, and our radios are like 100% radios. We got guys with Peltor, the whole 9 yards, it's just war games at its finest.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do to stay active other than writing your books? What are you doing? Are you still running, training, gunning? Are you going to war games? Are you involved in airsoft? Do you do anything like that on the side?
I just try to stay active, go to the range now and then, work out. But for the most part, I just recently got freed up from my job. So I know you heard about the government fork in the road.
Right.
I took it. So I'm actually a non-starving artist for the next 5 months, which I was lucky I did that, because then 2 weeks later my job was eliminated. So I am still on paper the senior advisor of the Defense Science Board. The board has been eliminated.
Is this because of Doge? Are you a part of the Doge?
Well, it's just the downsizing in general throughout the Pentagon and the military. They're just looking at anything that waste, fraud, and abuse, so they don't think is necessary. So and quite frankly, I can't blame them on this. I think the Science Board does great things. However, I think you've got other departments. I think you've got other research laboratories. And I think you can get that information without spending that kind of money. And this is a drop in the bucket. I think it was more of a prestige thing for a lot of people. I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for it from board members. But I felt like I was doing something, but I could have been doing more. So like I said, I'm just glad I took the buyout before, because then I would have just been fired. Nothing. No severance, nothing. So this allows me to write, push through this, the second book, get it launched, work on some other projects, and see if I can kind of kickstart this whole thing and make a living at writing books instead of taking.
Yeah, I think so.
I just have to find a place to write.
You've given yourself to the country for so many years, and you always will have that in here. You've really you're going to take the oath with you to your grave, just like your tats. It's like,
put a suit on and go to the Pentagon. Just not my thing.
Yeah, I just think that, exactly. So now it's time to be you and just, do the things that you feel passionate about, which is writing. And I love that Remarkable. If you want to sponsor the show, hit us up. I will talk about you guys all the time. Holy cow. What a cool notepad. And so your wife, Misty, found that and said, hey, check this out?
Yeah, she'd seen it, and we were in Best Buy doing something to get a computer looked at. She just walks over, picks it up. It's like, do you want the smaller one or do you want the larger one? I'm like, what are you doing? She just walks up. She's like, yeah, larger one. You write slow.
Yeah.
I just took it up to the counter and paid for it.
Larger one.
Every evening, type into the computer. It's ridiculous. Join the 21st century.
That's so great. So just Bluetooth to your laptop, and you can just send it over to that?
Yeah. So I can just sit right here and zap it in. And like I said, a little bit, I'm not the greatest speller, or, I miss words, and I still did. But, we hit that nice pothole in the bus and mark all across it. But for the most part, it cut my editing time probably by about 85%.
Oh yeah, and geez, I guess I want to talk about your book, but that thing is pretty cool.
I know, I've been plugging them everywhere I go. Everybody I talk to, I'm like, hey, a little kickback, Remarkable. Let's start a tour together. But
You're remarkable. You need to hit this dude up right here. You need to hit Sean Hagerty up and say, how can we team up with you? He keeps talking about your device there, And so with over 25 years of experience and spending your younger years training and conducting combat operations with the 1st and 75th Ranger Regiment, where did that lead you to, conducting those operations? Did you go into pretty much the Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan, or were you doing other types of theaters?
I did a couple of trips to the Middle East. I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan, I've been to Kyrgyzstan a few, but I did a lot of work in the continent of Africa. So I bounced around Africa a lot, working at different embassies throughout those regions. So I love going there. That's one thing I miss.
I'm actually wearing African camouflage right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me show you. I'll show you. Here you go. Right here.
Nice.
Yeah. The pinks and greens. I had to have it. That's at my war game shop, tactical airsoft supply, soft plug. All my guys show up in suits, but they're not suits. It's gear. It's like I go in and Xander's wearing some type of ERDL shorts with a leather belt with some tucked in finish thing, and he's all got a handkerchief around his neck, and then I go in and I've got African rare gear on, and we're just looking at each other like, dude, and then we touch it, feel each other's pants and shirts and things like, oh, that's nice, or we get Miami tiger stripe, which is a pinkish bluish tiger stripe that's really a cool pattern. He's like, bro, Miami and we say, what pattern is this? Can you guess it? So at our shop, our drip is our complete loadout. It's just the funkiest camouflage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you would fit in just like how you're dressed at our shop. The hat, the shirt, be like drip.
Jeans and a t-shirt. That's how I want to spend my days.
Right? Not a suit and a tie, being told that your job's on the line. You're like, well, you're going to take it into yourself.
That Pentagon, man, when I was still there, I walked around with a bag of popcorn watching everybody's hair on fire. I mean, it was just, they have, like them or not, this administration is shaking up the establishment of the Pentagon, that's for sure. So
it's true, huh?
It's a feeding frenzy over there, yeah. So I'm glad I'm out.
Okay, and you took that choice. You said, hey, okay, I'll take it. And have they paid you? Are you getting paid?
Yeah, so the first one came through last week. I was like, yes, this wasn't a lie. I get paid. So
it was not a lie.
I got to pay my mortgage.
Yeah. Can I ask you how long that was from the time that you left the job till you got your paycheck?
Oh, it just came like a normal paycheck. I'm technically in the position on administrative leave until September 30th.
So you're still getting your cut
automatically for me. So just every 2 weeks, paycheck's supposed to come. So
and then it'll just stop on that 5th month at that time frame.
The 30th at the start of the next fiscal year. Yeah.
Or will it?
If they keep sending checks in there, I can say, hey,
it's like $3.99, right? I'll take it.
They've taken enough. They've taken enough. So
let me tell you, I'd rather you have an extra paycheck than that money goes someplace else.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on.
I just look at all the times when we used to calculate when we're overseas. We're sitting there going, we work 24 hours a day, carry the math, carry the one. We're making like $2.24 an hour. It's bullshit.
No, that's funny. That's funny you say that. My dad would talk to my mom, and I'd sit around the table when I was younger, and my dad's like, I make $2.12 an hour, 24/7 a day. Yeah. As a Green Beret. He's like, when you break down what these guys get paid hourly, 24 hours a day.
Now, on the flip side, I'm not going to complain. When I was back home, it'd be like maybe show up at the office around 10, work out, maybe go to a meeting or briefing, maybe go shoot at the range, 2, and then go home. Or so, we also had the perks of when you're in between missions and in between training. It was like, if you got nothing to do, don't be here. Take care of your family and do what you need to do. So I can't be too flippant on that. We did get a lot of time off.
That's funny. But still, 2 something an hour. I want my listener out there and my viewer to know that our men and women that volunteer to serve are really, especially active duty, that it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week gig that sometimes, I think E1s going into boot camp get like $1,000 or $1,100 a month.
Yeah, I don't know what the current pay scale is, but even if you're senior. So when I got up to be a sergeant major, I worked at the op shop. I was 24. I mean, that could be called anytime. Like a mission going on a Friday night overseas, I'd have to be in the talk. monitoring in case there's anything. I was like, Jesus, this is a lot. So a lot of those senior staff, I mean, even at the Pentagon, they don't leave. I think they just live there. I secretly think there's some barracks somewhere that most of the military just stays there. But that's why they only do a couple of year stints normally there and then back out to units because the Pentagon's driving crazy.
Well, I mean, like, if you are, because traffic's not the easiest to navigate around the Pentagon, right? It's a pretty tough place to get to.
It is and it isn't. So I never drove it. I either could have a parking spot or the government would pay up to a certain amount for public transportation. The bus goes right by the front door of the Pentagon.
The front door?
Well, I got to walk up one flight of steps. I mean, I get on the bus, 45 minutes, I'm at the Pentagon, and it's all covered. I don't even get rained on. I forget my Ranger days. I don't like to get rained on anymore. I just walk right in the building. I mean, same thing with the Metro. The Metro stops at the Pentagon. So they really, really try to get everybody to use as much public transportation as possible. And they pay for it. When I was
otherwise, you're in that parking lot system that goes all the way around the whole place.
You'll get lost in there. You'll be out there for hours. Yeah, I've driven with a friend there once or twice, and it's like, this is miserable. Why are we, one, the traffic to get there.
Yeah.
Why would I want to do that? I'd have to drive almost 2 hours to get there and then park and walk, walk a days across the parking lot. Nah.
You're trying to get there, and the bus is like, okay, parks right in front. They have like parking permit to get through there and drop you off, and then you're on time.
Yeah. No, exactly. So no, I never do. Every now and then I take my motorcycle because I could jump in the HOV lane and it's free for motorcycles, and there's free motorcycle parking near the front. Every now and then, but half the time I had to have a suit. I mean, I'm just like, ugh. Then I got to pack a bag, and I got a wrinkled suit, or I got to wear the suit.
Or you're like John Wick rolling down the street with your suit.
Yeah, no kidding. That's not realistic. I'll have like bird crap and bugs on me. Yeah.
Stop. I didn't even think about the bugs splattered all over the suit, bro.
It'd just be a mess. So I rarely did it unless it was a day like I didn't have to have a suit. I could be like just a collared shirt and maybe slacks or even jeans. And just going to be tucked away in the office all day, not see anybody, then I'd do it. But it was rare. And the DC is not the greatest, man.
Oh, yeah, right? And a friend of mine was riding his motorcycle, and he's like, yeah, when rocks come at you, you got to take it. And I was like, what's the worst thing that ever hit you? He's like, a tire. Like a blown out tire.
Yep.
Whipped him across the chest while he was riding. And he has like a bigger 8 bars. I'm reaching up, if you're listening, I'm reaching up like motorcycle bars. But it like whapped him across the chest doing like 60, 70 miles an hour. I'm like, what? Why'd you not die? And he's like, because I stayed on my bike.
Yeah, I had the same thing, but I actually ducked and went over my head. But yeah, just glanced top of my helmet. I was like, oh my God. So every time I'm on a motorcycle, when I come up to an 18-wheeler, I just gun it right by as fast as I can.
Right by him.
I don't even care if it's a cop there. I'm like, I'm not riding next to a truck because the tires they blow all the time.
All the time. Yeah, and he said it just totally blew and it slapped him across the chest. I was like, how'd you not die? He's like, I just held on, dude. You can't just wreck and die even further. Yeah. So, not to stray, thanks listener for listening about us talking about the Pentagon and then my buddy Danny getting hit in the chest with a tire while he's riding his motorcycle and he lived.
Yeah, we definitely chased the squirrel.
Holy cow. Now, with Cabal, do you already have, a secondary or third book in the works since you're a non-starving actor?
Yeah, I've got about 5 or 6 chapters done. I put it away for the last couple of weeks because I really concentrated on getting social media going, getting ads for the books, setting up book signings, setting up podcasts. So that's been my main focus, is to get to June 6th. And just have everything. Like I'm holding a huge launch party, catering at the event. I've got a lot of family and friends coming in town. We're opening to the public, so I'm really putting kind of all the eggs in the basket for this launch and then into the festival to really try to get some momentum and get going. And you had a question.
What I was going to say is, Sean, is I'm going to read a little bit about Jones Point right here, straight off of your site, a little breakdown about the book, so folks that are hearing us have these conversations can understand a little bit about what you're going to get into. So Jones Point, as a special operations soldier, Dane Cooper was trained and tested to handle the most strenuous and dangerous situations around the world. He was not, however, prepared for the abduction of his daughter. This life-changing event sends him into a downward spiral, the depths of which are unknown even to Dane. But a lifeline, a purpose, and a path to redemption is offered to him by a mysterious cabal where his skills are paramount to helping others. Now investigating other grieving parents' cases, Dane must conceal his efforts from the zeal of an FBI agent convinced that a vigilante cabal exists. A dedicated Virginia Bureau of Investigations team working parallel crimes against children, and an elusive network of monsters at the center of it all. Punishing the wicked while searching for his little angel, Dane must overcome the struggle with his internal demons for retention of his soul. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna just pick up, dude. So now he's helping others.
So the second book, Cabal. So the second book that picks up from there, and what's kind of second book to me was a lot more fun to write. I always say that Jones Point was my original Superman, right? Not always the most fun, but you have to do so much background and build and kind of build the storyline out and all the backstory. Then Cabal, you get just an explosion of this group. You get introduced to new members. You see some of their backstories and what brought them together to do this.
Well, let me go through that real quick. Let me break that down since I introduced everyone to Jones Point, right? Which is a great book. Go buy that book, and let's talk about Cabal. So Dane Cooper continues his mission from Jones Point to find his missing daughter Angela. His involvement in the mysterious group of grieving parents intensifies as the Cabal becomes bolder and more brazen. From a high-profile assault upon sex traffickers in Savannah, Georgia, to a clandestine military operation in Berbera, Somaliland.
Berbera, Somaliland, yep.
Okay, Berbera, Somaliland, to assassinate a ruthless terrorist. Dane continues to bring the fight to those that would harm children. At every turn, they must stay out of the crosshairs of Carl Blanchard's new FBI task force and avoid being cornered by Virginia Bureau of Criminal Investigation Special Agents Patterson and Stills. But this time, the Keeper and his disciples are fighting back. The hunters have become the prey as the Cabal is viciously attacked by an unknown assailant. The savage killer is a ghost, torturing and murdering them one by one as he moves his way up the hierarchy. Dane, Sam, and Jack race against time to find this ghost and protect their members before the club is completely eradicated. Nobody is safe. Now investigating other grieving parents' cases, Dane must conceal his efforts from the zeal of an FBI agent convinced that a vigilante cabal exists. A dedicated VBI team working parallel crimes against children and an elusive network of monsters at the center of it all. Punishing the wicked while searching for his little angel, Dane must overcome the struggle with his internal demons. Okay, again, that goes into Jones Point. So I mean, dude, and I love the covers, right? The first cover is a swing set of Jones Point.
So the second one, actually, that was taken by my good friend Robin Mackey. She's a photographer out in Bartlesville and Copan, Oklahoma. And that's from Lake. The town is called Charlevoix on Lake Michigan, up in Michigan. And we went out one morning and she just started snapping some photos of like empty different things on the playground. And that one with the slide and the lighthouse in the background really captured the eye of the publisher, and that's what we used. She's got the picture on the back cover is her photo also.
It makes you think like the kids should be playing. There should be kids on the beach. It should be, some activity, yet the kids are not there. Where are the kids? And also maybe a tetanus shot.
Yeah. Those are the slides of our youth. They don't.
Yes.
It's hard to find those anymore. They're all plastic and they're really low to the ground, so no one gets hurt.
Hardcore metal slides, dude.
That was the way to do it. If you didn't burn your skin on the way down, what was the fun of it?
I mean, really, and it seems so close that it was almost to the water. Like at one point, might have been close enough to the water. But yeah, what a great, captivating photo. So props to your photographer for taking that.
Yeah, she's incredible.
And it does go along. Let me just flip up this. I know it's kind of tough. I'm on my phone, but if you look here, you can see that there's like the Baron swing sets. I almost want to say your covers here are very like Chernobyl-like.
Yeah, I can see that. It's just they're supposed to. I mean, anything with like any product, you want it to be visually appealing, right? You don't want to just have it by itself. And again, the publisher is the one who I give like thoughts and ideas, and they're the ones who really put it all together and make the proofs, and we negotiated, and it's pretty easy. And
boom. Now, do you foresee this ever getting picked up as a series on Netflix or something like that?
Would love it, and I will definitely pursue that in the future. Like I said, everything right now is just getting through this last 2 weeks, and like I said, I've got about 5 book signings lined up. I'm trying to get back down to Fort Bragg because I did a signing there before. I'm trying to get down. I'm already on Fort Belvoir. So I'm trying to hit some of the military installations as well. One, it's a lot of my target audience. Two, it's great because I go around these different posts and I see people I haven't seen for years and didn't know where they were stationed. So I
Yeah.
kind of rekindle with old friends.
Yeah, nothing like going on base and doing 15 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I do other things too. I just got back last month. I was down in St. Augustine for the Hard Rock Charlie 175 reunion, which we do every year. So I was down there for that, and my liver's just starting to heal.
Stop.
Yeah, I did not. So they do a jump every year. I jumped last year. I did not jump this year. I'm having some sciatic issues with talking to some docs about that. I didn't want to make it worse, but yeah, they all those old timers and everybody jump right out of the planes into the river there in St. Augustine.
Now, have you hit 50 yet? Are you a 50-year-old?
I'm almost 52. Yeah.
52.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you seem like you're holding it pretty well. I'm just going to tell you that.
Well, thank you. I try to do the best I can not to feel 52, but I get up in the morning and feel 52.
Yeah.
52 times.
You mentioned in the sciatic, you probably feel 52.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I say that is because you call them all old timers, and I'm like, but you're there.
Oh, I was one of the younger. There's some old timers there. There's guys in their 60s, 70s. Yeah, and they were jumping. Guys amputees. We've got my one buddy Chris Corbin. He's double amputee, and he jumps his working dog. It's Malinois, and he jumped Juliet jumped her. Yeah. I think it was last year. There was a guy. He only had one arm. And we were jumping into a lake in Florida, alligators.
Of course.
And everyone's giving him shit. And he's like, if I lose my last appendage, I'm going to be furious.
I'm pissed.
The great sense of humor.
That's funny.
But yeah, no.
I think you saying old timer at the 175th is like me going to the Cheap Trick concert the other day. I'm 47, and I think I was the youngest one there. My wife and I are like, well, it's nice to be the youngest ones here, and it's like we're looking around and everyone's all dancing and having a good time, and that's just kind of funny.
Yeah, kind of like going on certain cruise ships, right? You're the youngest one there. You're like, Jesus,
Yeah.
I'm going home without a walker.
That's so funny. Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, your junket circuit, you've got a bunch of things like myself lined up, I'd imagine. Everybody wants to kind of get you on their shows or what?
Yeah, I'm just starting to talk to some different people, doing a couple different, like you said, this is, I got a couple of you guys that, like, all last year we did. It was great, so that's why I kind of hit you guys up first, kind of get the word out there. And like I said, I'm really trying to get out there as the book signings, because that's where I feel like I can really reach a lot of people, especially I've got these big tall banners with the book covers on them, like these 6 foot tall banners, and usually it kind of attracts people over. So at least I can start the conversation. It's like any product. You think you have the greatest thing, but I'm not a salesman. They told me how to stab somebody with a bayonet, not how to sell a book.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm kind of learning. How do I sell a book? How do I?
They tell me how to stab with a bayonet, not sell a book. That should be a quote.
No.
Maybe a shirt.
There's no business classes in the Ranger Regiment, that's for certain. So, doing all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's cool that you got your thoughts out onto paper /remarkable, because, a lot of guys just will harbor those, instincts to want to write inside themselves and feel like, oh no, it's not my thing. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't try today. I shouldn't try now. I'm too old, or I've hit a, but I think you want to tell people, hey, you're doing it.
I actually talk to probably 1 to 2 new authors every week. So I've got friends who are now writing books. I beta read for them. Again, I don't know everything by any means. That's always up front. Hey, I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you what worked for me. I'll tell you where I screwed up. Don't do that. And if you want, I'm not a line editor by any means. Watch me spell. But if you want developmental, hey, I think you need to fix this. Put a little bit more in here. Put a little bit more in here. Hey, that was a little bit too long. As a reader, I always tell them I'm not a professional. I'm still an amateur, even though I'm published. But I'll give it to you from a reader's, because I've always been a huge reader. A reader's point of view that I like and dislike in certain genres. Again, I don't read across all genres, but so I do work with a lot of people. I got a call tomorrow with a guy. I've said to everybody, they want to reach out, they want to talk. I won't say no. I just have to, when I'm here during the day, kind of jokes. Oh, you're not working now. I'm like, I'm at the desk at 7 o'clock in the morning. I worked till about 9. I took the dogs for a quick walk. I flipped laundry, and then I worked again till we hit the disc ball. And then when we're done, I've got to go mail a couple books, and then I got to drop a check off at the venue and then I got to come back and do a few more ads on Facebook. So I'm working 7 to 5 every day, but I do try to make time. Anybody who wants time, I'll make time.
Man, you should be doing like signings at rock shows, like, because you kind of are a rock star. So like, what I'm thinking is like, like the Welcome to Rockville that's coming up with like all of the big bands and like all these places. There's like a show coming up in North Carolina, and they're festivals.
Yeah, I'm trying to do as many festivals as I can. I've got, like I said, the Occoquan one's really big, and then I've got another one that's Foodie, and I think that one's in National Harbor, Maryland. That's not till October. So yeah, that's another thing. It's again, man, so many hours of the day because I do try to do a hard stop at 5. Unless I'm like right in the middle of something, because I got to keep work-life balance. I'll work to 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I won't even know my wife's here. So I gotta kind of hard stop, and say, hey, what's the point of doing this if you don't enjoy your life outside?
Like Ranger games, right? Or Best Ranger.
Yeah.
You should be set up there with your books, right? I mean, that's like a thing that I would think would go.
I think some of those things you got to be careful because. So even like the military signings, I know my publishers like, hey, make sure you get plenty of pictures. I can't. If this person comes up to me in uniform, takes a picture of me in the book, then it looks like uniforms endorsing the book.
Endorsing it.
Same thing with on the USS Nimitz. I didn't bring any books because I can't. I can say I went to it and I got videos. I played it on a deck with the F-18s taking off. It was awesome, and I wrote on the book, but I didn't advertise anything because of that's a conflict of interest. And I was there as a Fed, so I had to be really careful.
Wait, did you say a conflict of interest and you were aware of it?
Yes.
You? A conflict of interest, and you're like, no.
Because I'm a peon, and we would get prosecuted.
For real?
Yeah, other than like politicians or all the other people that can do whatever the hell they want. Selling secrets. I make one mistake, I'm going to get punished. So, no, I'm not going to take that hit.
Well, thanks for holding that. That gives me faith. So thank you for saying that you didn't advertise. Even if you said you did, I'd be like oblivious to it. But then the fact that you mentioned that, it makes total sense, right? And so I'm just thinking, like, where would it be good at, to have these shows? And I see other authors, and they're like, hey, hit me up at Buc-ee's, or hit me up at this place, or hit me up at this place. I'm going to be there during this time if you're traveling through. Buc-ee's would be cool, right? I think they do author book signings.
Yeah, but good God, that place is a madhouse. I've stopped there once. Oh my Lord. I'm telling you what, I'm used to large crowds. I have no problem with that. Even I was like, we gotta get the hell out of here. Let me just get to the bathroom. I got some biscuit and then got the hell out.
And you bought some of the Buc-ee teeth, and then you bought the ears, and then you left.
Maybe. It might be one step. Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm doing right now, is because I have the time. Because even before Jones' point, I was working full time. So I was either using PTO or scheduling stuff on weekends, where I try not to schedule too much on weekends because I want to see the kids and grandkids. And I'm just, like I said, trying to find my groove right now. And I've got 4.5 more months to figure it out. And that's what I'm doing. So that's the festival research is on my list of ongoing things I'm doing.
That's just me talking, brainstorming, just thinking of a thought for you. That's just, I'm just like.
Nope, it's a great thought.
And if you're out there listening and you have a place that you think he'd make a good fit as, a book signing, reach out to my man here, Sean, at authorseanhagerty.com and just say, hey, we have a place in, where are you? You're in Virginia, right?
I'm in Virginia, but I travel everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm from Nashville. I'm going to New Orleans in September. I have no problem throwing books in the back of my 4Runner and driving across the country. No problem whatsoever.
Boy, I say this all the time to authors that are up and coming, but I heard a trick from a very famous author, or let's say a well-established author, who has a lot of books and they trend and, the whole 9 yards. And he has them in the airport's gift shop, right? His books are there. And he's like, but I always carry one with me just in case my book's not there. I'm like, why? He's like, well, I'll pull it out of my bag and I'll buy it. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, if my book's not on the shelf, I'll buy my book from the person it'll scan because it's in their UPC system. Yeah. It'll say last one or whatever out of stock, and it'll make them reorder it.
Ooh. Writing that one down.
just, food for thought there, right? And I was like, oh, wow. So typically they're in the store and he'll sign one. But if it's not, he'll pull his out and say, I'd like to get this book, please. And then they'll scan it. Yeah, just a little.
All right, I like that.
Right?
I'm definitely going to steal that trick and maybe use it other places. Yeah.
Guerrilla marketing. And if it doesn't ring up, say, oh, weird. Okay, cool. Well, they're like, well, I'll just buy it anyways, so you keep it.
I like it. New trick.
Yeah, right? Yeah, the guy that writes his books, he's all red celled out. He's a red cell guy, so that's his book, thriller books, I want to say his name so bad, but I'm going to stop. Stop.
Don't get in trouble.
Per sec.
I'm not saying I'm definitely going to do that, but I don't think I'm going to get in trouble over a $15 book.
Well, let me just explain. I just took a big drink of my water right when you said something funny, and I just about spat it all over my entire PC. I just have to say that's what just happened. If you're listening. Well, listen. I think that you're going to have a very successful book. Okay, everybody that comes on the show, totally successful. This is just going to be the biggest part of your career right here, is being on this show and talking about your cabal.
I hope so, and I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah, dude, Dane Cooper, right? That's the name of your
Dane Cooper series. Yep.
Yeah, the Dane Cooper series. I was just looking at my notes here. See, I write things down too, but I don't have a remarkable.
Yeah.
I just. Let me just. And before we started talking, I couldn't find my pencil sharpener, so I had to go to my dad's mentality of where's my knife.
I keep mine right at the desk. I don't write in pen.
No, I obviously I don't write. I mean, obviously I have corrections.
Yeah.
Okay, my erasers. I'm like, how funny. Yeah, if you saw a stack of my papers next to my office here, I have everybody's interviews, all like just your papers here. The other one was Peter Lindquist, and then it just goes on and on. Generals, Bear Grylls. Oh, hey, look at this one. Shut the front door. Sean Hagerty. Okay, I just pulled it out from the middle of my stack. Let's see, first 75th, 25 years. This was the Jones Point Dane Cooper notes. That's what's up, dude. And then I have your new one here, the Cabal. Right there, I'm just saying.
Number 3 comes out, I'll make sure to reach out and try to come back on.
Yeah, please do that. And I've had you for a good 45 minutes to an hour of time. We've been listening and going back and forth and just having a great conversation, talking about being an author, being special operations, being a husband, being someone who is probably counted on more than they know it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? And, becoming an artist, pulling that out of yourself, which obviously has always been there. You just decided to go into the military and federal, but you've always had that in you.
Just went a totally different direction.
Totally different direction.
Totally different.
Right? So, and a grandpa sergeant major.
Yeah, that's where the gray's coming from.
I got gray, but I'm not a grandpa. But I like little humans. I don't really like big humans, but I like little humans.
Yeah, I like when they're little, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're so much fun when they start to walk." I'm like, "No, they get in so much trouble when they start to walk. When they're immobile, they can't get into stuff."
No, and they just look at you like you're everything. I'm like, yeah, because
now they just run around like madmen in the filming house. Oh,
like, where's my license? Where's my car? Where's my phone?
They're not quite.
PayPal me some money.
They're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
3, 2, and 1. So we still got some time.
I want to go to University of Oregon. I don't want to go in state. That's to my daughter Sydney. She's in Oregon right now. Go Ducks! I don't know if you can see back here. I got like duck shoes.
I was going to ask about the Ducks.
Yeah. So now I'm a duck. And that's a creeper up there. The Minecraft creeper right there.
I'm not
that guy.
Minecraft. It's familiar, but I just don't know.
Oh yeah, no. He's always overlooking. See, the creeper in Minecraft is like always like creeping.
Ah, well, okay.
I'm just saying, that's all. I like all your books. You have that tells me that you read.
Yeah, this is actually only a portion. There's a ton of boxes. In my old house, I just had bookshelves and bookshelves and bookshelves. And here, this den just only have so much. So, most like my favorite books, and then some of my history books and stuff. Because I did a lot of studying in history as I went through college and my master's program. So I use a lot of the way historical researching like techniques. Sometimes I go back to the old books and for maintaining accuracy. Again, both books are almost 85% written in this Virginia and MDW area, and I went to every single place. Now, the couple that bopped to New York and Jones Point, they bopped to Savannah and Cabal. My wife and I went to Savannah on a trip to Florida, and I went through because I had a sniper position all picked out. And damn it, if they hadn't knocked that building down, it was an old cement factory across the river from Savannah. I walked in town and looked right up and went, oh, damn it, I got to put them in a different location now. That's gone. So I do go research the places as much as possible.
That's cool, because if it did become a show, there's the places. Hello.
I'm doing short clips now, trying to expand social media presence. So I've been going around the last couple of weeks to areas where Jones Point, Burke Lake Park, Fort Huntley Park, where murder was in Jones Point. Some things in Cabal, and doing short little clips for people to see. Hey, this is, and I'll read either a chapter or two, or I'll put it in the in the write up as, hey, this is what I was talking about. I did the whole abduction of Angela. That went out a couple days ago. It was like 5 or 6 short clips. I walked through Burke Lake Park. Here's the street she was on. Here's how she entered the path. Here's the dam she crossed. Here's where she came around the volleyball courts. And I gave you the kidnapper's perspective. This is where he was waiting. This is where he left the tainted food for her. And then this is where she came. So things like that. They're corny, but I feel like it gives nice little short clips, give people like a little bit of visual. Go, oh, that's what he was talking about. Oh, okay, I can really see it. Or people can relate to it because it's areas they know. I went to a picnic like 3 years ago, and I was just finalizing Jones Point. And I was explaining to one of my wife's colleagues, he asked me about the book, and I explained the street of where Angela was kidnapped from. Didn't say the name. I don't do that in the book because I don't want, God knows, I get sued for something. But the guy, I explained it, the guy's like, that's my street. I live on that street. He's like, I know exactly where you're talking about, exactly where the path cuts into the park. I'm like, oh, sorry about that. There might be a kidnapping in your neighborhood. It's coming soon.
So I love that. I like that. That's great relations. I like that, knowing that your book has those little tidbits of technicalities in there, right? Very Tom Clancy of you.
Try. I'm no Clancy, but I'm trying.
No, I'm saying because, my dad would read those books all the time when we were younger, and it was like, and the wire was red, but inside of the wire was copper, and that copper was made from this, and then that linked into the battery hard drive, and it was just like so detailed of a submarine, just like.
Yeah, see, I can't get that detailed. I didn't do it. I just can't get that detailed because me as a reader, I get lost. Like, I like to write to that you can read the book one way, someone else can see another story in their head. I try to bring the reader in. So I'll explain things, but then I'll kind of let you envision it. Like, that's how I like to read. I like to read where I'm following the character through their daily routine and what they're doing. When I was writing at Dane's apartment, I have a friend, Ray Hendrick, just retired. Congrats, Ray. He had a little tiny basement apartment in a D.C. walk-up, and that's where I made Dane live after his divorce. Because I could envision Ray's place. Now, sometimes when they see something different, they might be thinking, well, I lived in New York at one time, and the walk-ups were different. And you know what I mean? But explaining a D.C. townhouse with a downstairs basement apartment kind of lets everybody, whether you're in California and San Francisco, or you're in New York, or townhouses in D.C., right? Everyone's got their own image of what it is. So I give detail, but it's not enough that it can't be one of those 3 places.
Well, and that's the great thing about a book. What's our imagination that can just take away with the greatest theatrics ever inside of our own head, and I think that's great. I like the fact that your buddy was like, I know that path. You're like,
that was pretty funny. And I filmed it the other day and posted it, so I haven't talked to him about 2 years, and maybe he'll hit me back up and see it. That's still my path.
So now you're a social media manager. You're a production company to show your shorts that you're putting out there, so that you can entice folks to come into your world. You're an author.
I'm a would-be because I manage all the money and the taxes and the. Yeah. Thank God it's only 2 products, 2 books. It makes it pretty easy. Yeah, that's it. I got 2 books. I got to track expenses and track sales. That's not too hard.
A pseudo agent too, probably pseudo manager as well, if you don't have one.
A little bit, but my publishing company does a lot of that. I mean, it's a small place, Blue Handle.
But you had to get them, right? You had to chase somehow. I mean, did they come to you knocking on your door like, hey, Sergeant Major, you write books?
A friend of mine, his cousin was an author, linked me up with her. She read my original draft. At Jones Point, I don't know if you remember, I originally self-published. That self-published in November of 23. In that meantime, the publisher had a copy of the book, and then by January they signed me and optioned for 2 more books, and then re-released it of April 24 with that cover. So my original was out of print; you can't get it anymore. But my original, I did myself, and then through another author got me into this publishing firm.
And you're self-published as well on that first book.
On the first book was all self-published, and then second edition was published by Blue Handle. And that's the current. That's the one that's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, shops. That's the one that's out there. The old one, we got it somewhere. Yeah, you can't see it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's off the shelves.
That's called Grit.
I tell everybody it's the limited edition. Whoever got that one, keep that one. That's the original.
Yes.
That's the original.
Maybe they can send it to you through author SeanHagerty.com and maybe get it signed, and you'll send it back to them.
There you go. Yeah, if you go to the website, yeah, all my contact information is on there for people to reach out. Plus, it's all on my social media. I have everything where people can reach out and contact me. So
you got TikTok too? You're using TikTok now that you're out of the department?
Yeah, I'm only using Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Those are the 4.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think you also have an X as well.
I do, but I don't know how to use that.
I don't even.
I'm arguing with people over politics and stupid shit. I don't need that. I make funny little videos, throw them across the platforms, and then LinkedIn is actually probably my strongest because collaboration and a lot of us, my generation, and especially being in the service, we didn't use it. I didn't have Facebook until I was getting ready to get out of the military. So I have, right? But I always had LinkedIn. That's how we've always stayed in touch around the country, around the world. So I mean, I had a buddy from South Africa hit me up about the book, right? Because he saw it on LinkedIn. So that is my most far-reaching. Probably not the way most social media things tell you.
Right,
but I'm throwing it on the other ones. I'm learning algorithms.
Well, like Instagram allows you to share to other outlets, and what I've learned is that if they have like, a Facebook or another TikTok or whatever it is, I go and make an account there, and then I link it with my Insta. And then what I do is I just make one post, and then I share it to all of them in the one post, and then it just automatically matches to threads. I use Buffer, and then I schedule everything across the platforms, and it just goes out automatically. And then I monitor it so I can respond to people. Oh, I love that. And that's Buffer, huh?
Yeah.
It's called Buffer.
Yeah, Buffer. It was like one's comparable, like one of those things like Hootsuite, but I didn't really want to spend. I don't mind spending the money, but I hate spending the money on something and I'm not going to use like 90% of it. I don't need this to do all these analytics and create videos and build. I don't need that, and I don't need any AI. I don't touch any AI. That's like to writers. That's verboten.
Yeah.
At all. So this keeps me honest.
Yeah, and like people want to make art and stuff and submit to us with AI, and I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I like for my company, like, hey, make a logo or something. It's like, oh, it's all done in AI. I can totally tell. I think I would rather have somebody spend a little time and create it versus that. There's a look to it and a taste, it seems like. Yeah. But again, to digress back to Cabal, which is the book that's coming out, right? And I've had you now for a solid hour, and we have loved every single minute of it. And you're always welcome back, not just to talk about your books, but any stories that you want to tell. Anything like that, you're a welcome participant, part of the SOFREP Mafia, and we love having you here. And I just want to let you know, thanks again for regrouping with me to get back on the show today. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, it was great. I really appreciate it. It's fun talk.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And what I like to show folks is that, we've talked to each other before, but you can have a casual conversation with somebody without getting at their throat, without like loaded questions. Like, I didn't send you any questions in advance. You're like, what's Rad going to talk to me about today?
We'll find out.
Right? I'm like, what's Sean going to bring up today? And the first warning we had at the beginning of the show is we got to know what we're going to say. So that's it. And here we are. So I just want you to go around and have a nice day, and I want people to be kind to one another and just have a casual conversation with others, and you don't have to get at each other's throats over anything. You can just say, hey, what's up? How you doing? Smile, nod. Yes, exactly. Wow, it's such an honor to have you on the show, Sergeant Major. I just want to let you know that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And like I said, I'll stay in touch, see where this thing goes, and if nothing else, at least third book, I will make sure to hit you up. Or who knows, something crazy may happen to me in the meantime, and I'll definitely let you know.
Well, there's people out there that listen and watch the show because I get emails from them, and so if they're out there and they can help, guide you in a direction of whatever production or films or larger scale promotions, then hit up author SeanHagerty.com and tell him that you saw him on SOFREP and with RAD, and that you'd like to participate or help or ask some questions. And buy his book wherever books are sold locally. If his books are locally sold, buy it there first. If not, go online, wherever you buy it, leave a review for it on that platform. Yes, please. See, he's smiling.
That's the hardest. And people are like, I love them. Like, did you review it? Oh, I guess I should. Dang it! I need the reviews. If you don't like it, don't review it. But if you do, that's again how the algorithms work, right? I mean, that's how it's bumped around and Amazon or Barnes and Noble or those other books and all that stuff. If it doesn't get the reviews, it just doesn't go anywhere.
Right. And so I'm just gonna.
12 million.
That's why I know it's so important to say it.
Yeah.
Right? Go leave a review for it where you buy it. If you buy it on the river, leave a review on the river. If you buy it wherever, Barnes and Noble, leave a review there. Let others know, as well as those companies, that you appreciate that book.
Yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate you saying that.
You're very welcome. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you again to my awesome guest, which is Grandfather Sergeant Major author Sean Hagerty. That's what's up. I'm going to give a shout out to his lovely wife, Misty, who's also Sergeant Major Misty. And because I know that my mom was also SF with my dad the whole time. So all the time. Yeah, exactly. And myself, my name is Rad. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about what I say, why don't you post up down below and see what I say back to you about it. Go ahead. And if you want to be on the show as well, you can reach out to us. Just hit the link on SOFREP and submit. Say, hey, what's going on? What's the scoop is what we look for. And you say, hey, my name is so-and-so, and I'd like to be on your show. And we'll give it a read over and see if we can get you on the show, just like Sean. So again, thank you for being on the show. And Sean, if you want to recommend anybody in the future to be on the show, feel free to do so as well.
I definitely will. Thank you.
And thank you. On behalf of SOFREP.com, our merch store, and our book club, hopefully we'll get Cabal and Jones Point in our book club, so you can get that through SOFREP as well. This is Rad saying peace.
You've been listening to SOFREP Radio.